Is this going to be on the doctor's conscience? It's like, do you guys see like this can open doors for like, things to go wrong? Hey guys, this is Alessia. Welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, I just wanted to say that I am starting to feel a bit under the weather, like my chest kind of hurts, like I just kind of feel like under the weather, so that's why I am kind of looking pale and tired a little bit. And second, unfortunately, the video and the sound quality, well, I don't know about the sound because I have this mic right here, but the video quality will definitely be lower than usual just because I need to have it facing me to see what's happening because it is low on storage, and when it is, it'll stop randomly and I won't be able to see what's happening. So hopefully you guys understand. So in this video, we're going to be talking about euthanasia or medically assisted suicide. I probably can't say the word because YouTube's policies. There's an article recently that came out that caught my eye, and I was like, okay, nah, it's concerning. So I'm gonna read it to you guys and tell you guys my opinion. So here's a little bit about euthanasia. So around the world, euthanasia, where doctors use lethal doses of drugs to end the lives of patients with terminal and chronic illnesses, is legal in Belgium,
Canada, Colombia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, and certain parts of Australia.
Additionally, several U.S. states, including California, Colorado, and New Jersey, permit a format in which a physician can prescribe that are then self-administered by the patients. Canada's euthanasia laws came into force in 2016 and resulted in around 10,000 deaths last year. Unlike in Belgium and the Netherlands, there are no monthly commissions in place to review problematic cases. Whilst in Canada, the procedure itself can be undertaken by a nurse practitioner rather than purely being restricted to doctors. So they're basically letting nurses also make these decisions and be involved in this. Only the nurses. Canada, it appears to be more deliberately inserted into routine dialogue between doctors and their patients. So basically, it's kind of like a normal conversation here that they'll just bring it up, like, do you want to be put to death, pretty much. For eligible patients who don't need to have a terminal illness, but simply a life-limiting disability, it is not so much that physicians are encouraging them, but rather proposing it as a choice of equal standing amongst other options. So yeah, you guys might think like, Alessia, like, oh, but they're not forcing it, da-da-da-da. Look, the thing with doctors sometimes and these nurses, and look, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and, I don't know, there could be some doctors and giving the option, but they also have to make that moral call and that moral judgment, because what if you have like a teen coming in or like someone who, like, how do you know they're not going to change their mind? How do they know it's just like a decision? Like, what is the process? Like, do you guys see like this can open doors for like, things to go wrong? Euthanasia and abortion are extremely against the Bible. I'm not sure about other religions. I'm assuming it's the same way. Like, I'm like 99% sure, but I'm not going to speak for them. Canada's new euthanasia laws carry upsetting Nazi-era echoes, warns expert. Canada's extremely liberal euthanasia laws, which next year are set to be extended to include people suffering from mental health conditions and potentially minors, have been slammed for being reminiscent of the way the Nazis dealt with people with disabilities by a leading academic in the field. The country's uniquely permissive euthanasia laws were probably the biggest existential threat to disabled people since the Nazis' program in Germany in the 1930s. So they're basically comparing this to that. Basically, there was a story of a 61-year-old named Alan Nichols who had a history of hearing loss and depression, and according to Nichols, his brother was unlawfully put to death by the Canadian state in 2019. What concerns me a lot is the fact that they're saying like depression and schizophrenia can count, and potentially minors. We didn't think that trans kids would be able to get these surgeries, and now look what's happening. Sooner or later, I feel like they're going to let minors make these huge decisions, and this is extremely concerning because you will have a teen who is just mentally maybe unstable because of hormones, because of growing up, is going through a rough patch at home with their families, going through a rough patch mentally, and is going to say that they want to be put to death. And then are the doctors going to let them? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, look what's happening now. The doctors are going to let them die. Da, da, da. I'm sure there is a process, but this opens the door to some potentially dangerous situations and potentially bad situations. When it comes to things like depression and schizophrenia and anxiety and OCD, like mental health conditions, I think there is always a fix. Whenever there's a will, there's a way. And especially because depression is common, I think that this is going to be a big problem because you would have tons of people who maybe feel like they want to end their life and they're going to go this direction when there can be a way out. There can be people that care about them. And what I want to know is, like, parents and like the family members and friends of this person are like pleading and saying, please, like, we'll help you, all this and that. Are the doctors still going to do this? Is this going to be on the doctor's conscience? Because if I was a doctor dealing with this, or even not the firing squad, like the people who put prisoners to death, okay, for example, even though these prisoners have like done bad things, I still couldn't do that. It's on my conscience. So last year, 3 United Nations human rights experts condemned the Canadian legislation as having a discriminatory impact on disabled people. Meanwhile, during a recent visit to the country, Pope Francis attacked Canada's culture of utilitarianism when it comes to its euthanasia policy, deploring the fact that patients who in place of affection are administered death. So instead of caring about them, being there for them, you're just like, okay, you can be put to death. Also, someone made a point here as well that's saying the people that are getting are costing the government lots of money. In fact, it's actually I know this is not death row obviously, but actually I saw something where death row, putting people to death, is actually more expensive than keeping them in prison. So it's costing us taxpayers more money like this. Actually, people are disturbed because they're feeling as though they're trying to encourage this, or they're trying to make it easily accessible. I don't know, there's just something just inherently feels wrong about this, what if look how it's gonna affect family members, friends. Sometimes we just go through these phases where maybe they'll last a few months of this depression, or something let's just talk about mental health, because they're opening it to mental health, okay? Mental health, periods of depression. You guys understand, I've had so many periods of anxiety where I felt personally do I want to be here? Do I want to be here? But it passed, or it's kind of on and off. And I just feel are so quick in general to jump to just medication, to ending their life, just without looking at the other possibilities, naturally, or being there for people. They're just quick to kind of go to the extremes, or maybe drugs, alcohol, partying, promiscuity. I feel there's a way around these things. There's a way out. We just have to kind of look at other things and not just kind of jump to extreme decisions that you might end up regretting after. So all in all, I just feel this sets a dangerous possibility of people who should not leave this earth. And I feel this is gonna open up a possibility, like I said, of minors now. I feel this might turn into the whole trans kids transitioning situation, where it's the parents are not involved, these kids can make these decisions. I feel it might start to get to that point. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I've seen how things have gone in this world, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get to that point. So that's my opinion. I feel as though opening it up to people with mental health issues and minors is dangerous, and is going to set us not in a good direction, because who knows how they might use this to their advantage. That's all I'm going to say, if you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, guys, that's all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of this whole thing? Let me know down below. And of course, it's just Canada and other countries in Europe, but Canada doing all this stuff gets you wondering sometimes. Don't forget to give it a like, don't forget to give it a comment, subscribe. It really does count, guys. The likes, the comments, interactions, it counts, so don't forget to do that. And as always, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.